This case from the United States is both terrible and very sad.
FBI has offered to help in the case of a missing person in Chattanooga.
We want her home and we want her safe.
Let's talk about the sad case of Jasmine Pace. Watch out for the man in the video. He's walking outside of an apartment block with his bag pulling behind him. At first view, he might look like any other person, maybe on their way to or from a short trip. But inside that bag is a scary secret he's trying very hard to keep from everyone. Jasmine Pace, 22, and her family were very sad just a few days before Thanksgiving. Her loving great-grandmother, who was the head of the family, had just died in the emergency room. They were all very sad, but no one knew the worst was yet to come. Jasmine had always had a very close relationship with her mom's family. Even though her parents had split up 20 years before, she was very close to her mother Katrina and her stepfather, who ran a building company. They were building Jasmine a house close by. She stayed in the pool house during that time. Everybody in Jasmine's neighborhood knew her from her job at her family's building company. Not having a good day, and then I see her come in. She wrapped her arms around my neck, and I've known her my entire life, and I've never seen her burn a bridge. Made it a point for you to know that she was thinking of you, and that she loves you. Jasmine met her boyfriend Jason Chen on Bumble a year ago. It began as a friendship, but it quickly grew into something more. They had just recently started going out together. Her family knew about him, but they hadn't met him yet. They thought they were just another young couple, happy about their relationship getting stronger. A short time ago, they took a trip to Chicago together in late October. The question is, how well did Jasmine really know Jason? Like we'll see in this case, some of his closest friends and family would say very scary things about him. Some might even say terrible, because Jasmine would never come back to her house after leaving that night. The family was still in shock from the death of their beloved grandmother the next day, trying to deal with the weight of their loss. Then Jasmine sends Katrina a strange message. "I'm going to spend Thanksgiving with my girlfriend Emma in South Carolina." Even though the words didn't make sense, Katrina didn't give them much thought at the time. She thought that Jasmine was just upset about losing someone and wasn't being serious. "I'm going with my girlfriend Emma to spend Thanksgiving in South Carolina." Which Jasmine wouldn't have texted me, introducing Emma as her girlfriend, because I knew Emma. Emma had spent lots of time around me, so there would be no reason for Jazzy to introduce her that way. That was odd. Things soon became even stranger though. It was a big deal for her family that Jasmine didn't show up to their Thanksgiving the next day. Even stranger, this was happening right after they had lost someone important. Even worse, Jasmine hadn't talked to her family since November 23rd when she sent them that text. And now her mom was scared. Her mom has not had an ounce of sleep. I don't think she is. Katrina called Jasmine several times but couldn't get through. Then she tried to get in touch with Emma but was shocked to learn that Jasmine had never met her. Emma is not from South Carolina. She is from Kentucky. What did Jasmine need to say in her text message? The family was filled with a mix of fear and worry. They thought about many options, such as whether Jasmine had left to cry alone. After 2 more days, Jasmine still hadn't said anything. After that, there was the strange Facebook post. Jasmine's account posted a picture of herself in knickers along with a few short films. It was not a modest photograph posted on Facebook, and anybody that knew Jasmine knew it. She would not have posted that. Her family and friends knew right away that this was not true. Not only was her picture old, but Jasmine's new tattoos couldn't be seen in it. The picture also had a chat button that looked like it came from a private exchange. A lot of people commented, "She didn't post this, y'all," and other things like that. Katrina used the My Chevy app to find Jasmine's car because she was desperate to know what was going on. At 900 Mountain Creek Road, it was stopped. They got there and saw that Jasmine's Chevrolet had been left behind. Family and friends started to knock on doors to see if anyone had seen her. At 7:10 p.m., they had no choice but to call the cops and report the person missing. At some point, Jasmine's real father also learned that she had disappeared. Katrina could see Jasmine's phone information because she had a Verizon family plan. There, she found out that Jasmine had talked to Jason for more than an hour on November 22nd, the night she went missing. It didn't end there though. Jason also sent Jasmine a message the next day asking, "Hey, are we still good for dinner tonight?" No one read that letter. Katrina called Jason right away. He didn't say much in his answers, but he did give her his home address, which was 500 Tmont Street. But when they got there, it was an empty house that was still being built. Jason told a lie. It was a red flag that he did this. Why didn't he help her look for it? Why didn't he look shocked? What's worse is that he gave them the wrong address. Then Katrina noticed something she had missed before. A location pin drop message from Jasmine showed up on her phone hours after she had left that night. The point where the pin fell was at 110 Tmont Street at 2:15 a.m. on November 23rd. The family, including Jasmine's real father, rushed to the address because they needed to know what was going on. They talked to a neighbor who told them that Jason Chen lived in flat 210. But the flat door didn't answer when they knocked, and it didn't look like anyone was inside. Then Travis, Jasmine's real father, decided to do something about it himself. He went around the back and opened the door, breaking the lock in the process. He then went through the flat room by room with a gun, before going to the front door and opening it from the inside to let her family in. They found cleaning tools and things with Jason's name on them inside. But the most worrying thing was that they found Jasmine's credit cards, ID, and travel bag, but neither Jasmine nor Jason could be found. They called the cops to show them what they had found. After her dad put everything on the table, they broke in because they thought the cops weren't looking into her disappearance quickly enough. The next day, November 27th, around 11:40 p.m., police searched Jason Chen's apartment based on a search order. It looked like any other flat at first glance. Then, with the help of CSI's crime scene unit, they found something very scary. They used the Blue Star forensic blood test, which is a chemical that shows where blood has been. The whole flat lit up when it responded. It looked a lot like a glowworm cave. There were blood spots and marks all over the place. The walls in the bathroom and living room were stained, and cleaning tools were left on the couch. They looked like they were just bought at a nearby Walgreens. Now there was no doubt there had been a lot of fighting, and the blood was most likely Jasmine's. There was more broken glass on the floor as well. A neighbor who lived below Jason's flat said they heard a woman scream loudly at 2:01 a.m. woken up in the middle of the night by a loud. There was a scream that startled me out of my sleep. I checked my phone to see the time because I was going to call 911. It was around 2 a.m. There was a voice that was screaming words, the words I couldn't understand fully. A female voice. There sounded like chasing, a lot of footsteps going across towards the front. By the time I settled down from being abruptly woken up and thought that I heard clothes shuffled across and a door slam, I thought that had just been a normal apartment argument, and everything kind of calmed down. Because of this, they thought the fight upstairs was over, but they were wrong. Don't forget that Jasmine sent her mom a pin at 2:15 a.m. This was after she screamed and while something was going on upstairs. We'll talk about that again soon. Some shocking clues were found in surveillance video. On November 23rd, video showed Jason leaving his apartment and walking to the parking lot with a black cloth around his hurt right hand at 1:41 p.m. That same day, Jason was caught on video buying 2 bottles of peroxide and bandages at the Walgreens store near his apartment. At 6 p.m. that same night, video showed Jason leaving his flat again. And this video shows him pulling that bag. Of course, this is scary because Jasmine is a small lady who weighs less than 100 pounds. The police wanted to know if she was in that bag. His car is seen heading off, and he can be seen in the driver's seat. Then, around 7:03 p.m., Jason was seen by a camera at Walgreens. He bought 6 packs of paper towels, 2 more bottles of bleach, and rubbing alcohol. Even though they still hadn't found Jasmine, there was more than enough proof to connect Jason to her disappearance and get an arrest warrant out for him. Jason was caught at his parents' house in Nolanville, Tennessee, on November 29, 2022. We are here. All right, you're going to go to this officer right here. We're going to pat you down. Make sure you don't have anything in your bag. So we also have a search. For person, correct? Okay. So you said there was a search warrant for me, correct? Yeah, there's a search warrant for your person. So we're from the police department. We're going to be commanding to you. We're assisting. The challenge. We'll tell you all that when we get down there. So just take it from them. They're the lead on this, all right? So if you will, just face away from me. All right. Do you have any person, drugs, weapons, on you? On his right hand and feet, he had cuts. But his scars were not the only thing that linked him to the crime. It was the notes about Jasmine that they found in his room. Someone said she had gotten away and gone to Canada. Someone else said Jasmine had a court order to keep her ex away. He was planning to trick her and seemed to be using Jasmine's words and actions to hide what he had done. He could use the other notes to help him think of what he would say to the cops if they asked him a question. A note said, "If law enforcement contacts other family members, what do they do?" "Last time I saw Jasmine was on November 19th, said another note. "The last time we talked on the phone was November 22nd. Investigators got Jason's phone records on December 1st. They found out that Jason had put his SIM card into Jasmine's phone on November 25th and sent fake texts, made that Facebook post, and made other desperate attempts to hide his tracks. Between November 22nd and 23rd, police were able to follow Jason to Suck Creek Road. They searched quickly and found a bag 10 to 15 feet from the water in less than 30 seconds. Inside, Jasmine's dead body was wrapped in 3 black trash bags. It was terrible. She was chained and tied in the fetal position. Dozens of stab wounds looked like they went through her. He dumped her body in a disturbing place, because earlier that month, Jason had texted Jasmine and asked her to meet him on Suck Creek Road the weekend before the leaves fell off the trees. It was strange that he threw her body here with such carelessness and disrespect, like she was trash. It is both horrifying and sad what Dr. Cogwell found when he did the autopsy on Jasmine. She had been stabbed 60 times while she was still alive, which is unimaginable. Jasmine's lungs were cut open by the broken blade of the knife during the attack. Numerous cuts and scrapes were made on her face. The force of these hits caused a lot of bleeding. She couldn't talk because of deeper cuts near her neck, which also made her lungs fill with blood. At 2:15 a.m., is this when, and maybe why, Jasmine sent that pin to her mom? It's too painful to think about the time, especially since the neighbor below heard agonizing screams just minutes before. Just the thought of it makes me very sad. She had a lot of bruises on her upper right side, and they were all done from right to left. This makes it seem likely that Jasmine was stabbed at first while she was trying to protect herself. In the chaos of the attack, she may have curled up on her left side, like a fetal position, but Jason kept stabbing her badly on the right. After the first attack, Jasmine was rolled onto the carpet and left to bleed to death. None of her cuts were fatal right away. No, she was in pain as she bled out, and her life was slowly and painfully slipping away. Even just thinking about how horrible it must have been for Jasmine to be killed by the person she turned to for support after her great-great-grandmother died makes me sick. What they did was sick and heartless. It's just too much. After hearing that Jasmine Pace had been killed, some people who knew Jason Chen began to talk about him. A lot of people said he had a weird vibe, and Jason's old friend said he used to pretend to be other people online, going through all my accounts, kind of slandering my name on social media, through different work ventures, etc. along those lines. Messaging people from my hometown, just hateful messages. His personality is just very off, and he's not very good at social cues and things like that. They said he just kind of gave off a weird vibe like this, kind of unsettled people with just how he behaved. The case against Jason Chen began on January 13, 2025. He said he wasn't guilty of planned murder and abuse of a body. His defense tried to say that he killed her on purpose by saying that Jasmine had hit him with a wine bottle when she saw Tinder messages on his phone. But forensic proof showed that the story was not true. On November 22nd, there was no Tinder action, and Jasmine did not have any drugs in her system. Also, did Jason sound shocked or sorry after the crime? He was caught texting girls on Tinder on November 25th and November 28th, so it looks like he wasn't. During the trial, Jason didn't show any real feeling. Jason dropped his head to avoid facing the truth about what he'd done when Dr. Cogwell talked about the autopsy results. He only showed feeling when he cried while watching his mother give a happy testimony at his sentencing hearing. When Jason's mother spoke to the judge, only in Chinese, she begged for forgiveness, telling him that her son had a whole life ahead of him. Still, she didn't say anything about Jasmine or acknowledge the terrible loss that her family would have to live with for the rest of their lives. Most likely, Jason would have been put to death for his crime if he had done it in China instead of the United States. I can see why a mother in grief would want to help her son, but I thought it was rude and self-centered of her to only help her own son. With respect to Count 1 of Presentment 315228, we, the jury, find the defendant Jason Chen guilty of first-degree premeditated murder. This is an emotional verdict. Everyone needs to maintain the court, please. Jason Chen was given a lifetime in prison without the chance of parole on January 21, 2025. It only took the jury 40 minutes to decide what to do. When Jason goes to the Bledsoe County Correctional Complex to serve his time, Jasmine's family continues to remember her. I am a lost soul from Neverland. His story doesn't end here, though. He wants a new trial because he thinks his conviction was unfair. The evidence didn't support the decision, and he wasn't given a fair trial. Some people said there wasn't a real reason for the crime, but the judge reminded them that there doesn't have to be a reason to show what happened. Also, do criminals always need a good reason to kill? It's a scary question, but the truth is that they don't always have good reasons. There's always something that can snap without notice, like a weak ego or a deep-seated need to be in charge. However, Jason's strange reasons are not what this story is really about, and not what we should remember about it. This is about Jasmine. Even if they get this sentence, it won't make them truly guilty, because Jasmine will never come back. Jason will never be a part of society again, though. I don't think this was an unfair trial because of what he did. And that wraps up today's case. If you enjoyed this deep dive, make sure to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications so you never miss a new story. I'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments. What do you think really happened? Until next time, stay safe and stay curious.